Good morning, everyone. I hope I'm audible and visible to all of you. Uh, And the offline students can hardly see you. Think there is very less light in the classroom. I hope you can rectify it so that I can see your faces. Hard to see anyone's face. Anyways, what we were discussing in the previous class was equilibrium, and we had seen some examples of stable and unstable equilibrium. In the previous class, as you can see on the screen right now, we only had one point of equilibrium. And if we have one point of equilibrium, well, it could be either stable or unstable. Now, that is not the only case that is possible. There can be more than one points of equilibrium, and I hope that you understand. If there are more than one points of equilibrium, there can be different types of equilibrium at different points. So that is what we are going to start the class off with. So let us start with a question. Let us start with a question in this class, and then we'll discuss what is going to happen in this case. First question for today's class. Okay, the energy function is given by. Is everyone okay? You can see me, right? Yes or no?
Sir, you are clear.
Okay. Okay. So now let us do this question. The energy function is given by x cube by 3 minus what should I put here? Let me see. It should be minus 3x squared by 2 plus 2x plus 3. Let us say that we have an energy function like this. The energy function is given as x cubed by 3 minus 3x squared by 2 plus 2x plus 3. Now in this question we are supposed to find out number 1, the points of equilibrium. And number 2, the types of equilibrium. I'll give you a minute to think about this question and solve it. It's an easy question. Let's see how many of you can do this. What you got to do, there is nothing special that you have to do. You just need to do what we have been doing in the previous class. So let us go ahead with this question first. I hope all of you are trying this question. I'll give you 2 minutes to solve it. Anyone with any answer for this question? Anyone? Anyone got any answer for this?
The answer is 1/2, sir. Stable.
No, that is not correct. That is not correct. I think you have done some mistake somewhere. Anyone else with any other answer?
That is stable equilibrium.
What are the points of equilibrium? That is the first question, beta. Don't tell me the answer.
2,1.
2,1. So how many points are there?
2 points.
So how can there? So in both the points, it is stable equilibrium. There are 2 points. In both the points, is the equilibrium stable? Okay. Let me solve this question. The first step here, as all of you know, is that you have to find du by dx, the first derivative of the energy function. Now, if I differentiate this, the entire thing, it will be 3x squared by 3. So 3 and 3 will get cancelled. Minus 6x squared by 2. So I'll have 3 here. 3x by 2. 6x by 2. So it will become 3x plus 2. So basically I have the derivative as x squared minus 3x plus 2. All of you got to this step? Step number 1. Can I have some raised hand? Have you got to this step?
Yes, sir.
Well done. So this is the first step. That gives me the first derivative. It has been highlighted in green. Now to move on to the second step, we find the second derivative d2u by dx squared. I will differentiate the green thing, x squared minus 3x plus 2. Now, but okay, let us find the second derivative first and then we will go ahead. So what is the second derivative? I have to differentiate it. So it will become 2x minus 3. Did we all get this step? The second derivative?
Sir.
I marked it in blue. Have you got this? Did you find out the second derivative? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So this is the second derivative. So I found out the first derivative. I found out the second derivative. Everything is there on the board. Now to find points of equilibrium, what I need to do for equilibrium, what I need to do is equate du by dx, which is the first derivative, to 0. Which implies I have to equate x squared minus 3x plus 2 to 0. Now this is a simple quadratic equation that can be solved in a variety of ways. I will not go into solving this equation because you should know how to solve it. We'll get a quadratic equation, so we'll get two answers. What are the two solutions for this equation? Anyone?
1, 2, sir.
X is 1 or X is 2. So these are the two solutions for this quadratic equation. How many of you got up till this point? The pink point where we have two solutions of the quadratic equation. Okay, everyone got to this point. So basically you have done all the steps correctly. There is no problem with those steps. Since I have got 2 points, I'll have to check the second derivative. Remember, the steps are, I have to find out the value of second derivative and I have to find out whether second derivative is positive or negative. Now, that is the step that we are going to do now. When x is 1, at x is equal to 1, let us find out the value of d2y, d2u by dx squared. What is the value of d2u by dx squared? So it becomes 2 into 1. I put x as 1. This x is 1. So I put x as 1. 2 into 1 minus 3. So I get the answer as minus 1. Did anyone get to this yellow step? This is the yellow step. Did anyone get to this yellow step? Now this derivative is negative. That means this is the condition of maxima and this is the condition of unstable equilibrium. Do we understand this? This equilibrium at x is equal to 1 is unstable. This equilibrium is unstable because the second derivative is negative. Did we get this? Can I have some raised hand that we get this?
Yes, sir.
That means at x is equal to 1, the yellow one, it is an unstable equilibrium. But we also need to find out what is the value at x is equal to 2. That is what we are going to do now. At x is equal to 2, let me draw a line here. At x is equal to 2, I have to find the second derivative value, d2u by dx squared. Again, I find it, and it is 2 into 2, 4, 4 minus 3, it is equal to plus 1. Did we get to this step? The green step?
Yes, sir.
Yes, now this second derivative is positive. The second derivative is positive. This implies that this equation or this condition is the condition of stable equilibrium. So at one point, you have stable equilibrium, the point of minima, and the other point you have unstable equilibrium. What is the moral of the story of this question? What do you understand by this question? Can anyone tell me what is the moral of this story? What have we learned from this question? We had 2 points of equilibrium, and what did we learn from those 2 points? Anyone?
when they are
Yes. What did we learn from these 2 points? What do we learn from this equation? What do we learn from this question? Anyone? No one would like to say anything? What we have learned from this question and yes,
at x equals to 2, the stability is maximum.
that is evident that it is stable equilibrium. So stability is maximum. This is the condition of stable equilibrium and it's x equal to 2. That is the answer that we have got. That is not the result that we have achieved. What we have learned from this question, we have not learned that x equal to 2 it is stable and x equal to 1 it is unstable. That was a part of the question that you were supposed to solve. The question is, what have we learned from this question? Is there anything that we have understood from this question? X is equal to 2 is a point of stable equilibrium. That is the answer for this question. What we have understood from this question?
Stability is depending on x, sir.
No, we have not understood that. It will depend on x, yes. Because it is a function of x, so it will depend on x. We have not understood that. That is a part of the question. Yes. Anything else? Go on. Tell me your thoughts. I'll see whether you are able to understand the basic point of this question. The basic point of this question was not to find out the answer, was to understand something. What was that thing? You have to understand what you have to understand from the question, so that when such a question comes, you are able to solve it correctly. Yes.
Energy may be stable or unstable at different points.
Yes, you can say that. That can be a moral of the story from this question, that at some point it is stable equilibrium, at some point it is unstable equilibrium. Just elaborate more on that, and that is the reason why this question was given, and that was the result that we needed to understand from this question. If you have more than 1 points of equilibrium, for example, you have 2 points.
1 point of equilibrium.
Yes. Then
we need to substitute in.
No. We need to see it's not a result. If we have more than 1 point of equilibrium, let us, for example, say 2 points of equilibrium, it is sure, if you have 2 points of equilibrium, it is sure what?
One is unstable and another is stable.
Yes, that is the result that we have to understand. If we have more than 1 point of equilibrium, if we only have 1 point of equilibrium, it can be stable, it can be unstable. If we have 2 points of equilibrium, then the result is one of them would be stable and the other one has to be unstable. There cannot be any other thing that is possible. If we have 3 points of equilibrium, you will not get that question, but let me ask. If we have 3 points of equilibrium, then what is the condition possible? What are the conditions possible there? If I have 3 points of equilibrium, and then that equation would be a cubic equation.
Unstable.
Yeah?
They can be stable or unstable.
Well, hello and welcome back, everyone. I think there was a small glitch and we got disconnected. Anyways, we are back in business and we are discussing what we have learned from this question. What have we learned from this question? And the question is pretty clear. If we have one point of equilibrium, it can be stable, it can be unstable. If we have 2 points of equilibrium, as we have seen in this question, one of them would be a stable one, the other one has to be an unstable one. If I ask you another question, if we have 3 points of equilibrium, then what will happen? So what is the answer? 3 points of equilibrium, what will happen? Anyone? I hope you can speak. If we have 3 points of equilibrium, we will have a cubic equation for du by dx. We will get 3 solutions from there. Hardly that question will come, so I will not get into that question. But if we had 3 points of equilibrium, what will happen? What are the conditions possible? And that is a question that can easily come in your exam. 3 points of equilibrium, what is the condition possible? Yes?
It can be stable, unstable or neutral.
No, it will not be stable, unstable or neutral, no. It will not be all three of them. No. Neutral equilibrium will happen in one particular case, and then it will be neutral in all cases. You will hardly get a question on neutral equilibrium because it is not such a simple thing to do. You'll have to do multiple things
Sir,
to
we
get a
can
neutral.
predict.
Right?
We cannot predict.
No, we can predict. So if we have three points of equilibrium, two of them would be of one type, and the third would be of the other type. So if we have 2 points of stable equilibrium, 1 point will be for unstable equilibrium. If we have 2 points of unstable equilibrium, the third one has to be a stable equilibrium. Because for neutral equilibrium, d2u by dx square has to be equal to 0. And that is a separate case. That will not happen. If that happens, the other things will not happen. Are you getting my point? Bacha? Because the equation that we are talking is the equation of a curve. The equation of a curve does not become flat all of a sudden, because then the equation changes. So it cannot become a flat curve. So we will not have a neutral equilibrium. We can only have a neutral equilibrium when you have a straight line parallel to x-axis. That is the only case we will get a neutral equilibrium. There is no other case possible in which you will get a neutral equilibrium. So don't think about neutral equilibrium as such. If we have 3 points of equilibrium, 2 of them would be of one type, the second one, the other third one would be of the other type. So 2 stable, 1 unstable, or 2 unstable and 1 stable. Do we understand this? Can I have some raise hand that we understand this? Neutral equilibrium will only happen in one case, when this is a flat line parallel to x-axis. That is one very particular case. That is the only case possible that will happen. Now I'll give you one question, and I hope that you will be able to solve this. Are we ready? Let us see if we can do this one. The question comes on the screen right away. And what is the question? Again, I have an energy function. U is equal to x cubed by 3 plus 5x squared by 2 plus 6x plus 5. Again, the question is same. Find out the points of equilibrium and find out whether what type of equilibrium it is. I'm not writing the entire question, saving my time so that you can have time to solve this. Your time of 2 minutes starts now.
Sir,
Yes, beta.
points of equilibrium are -2 and -3.
Okay. You have to tell me the entire answer, beta. That is correct. One part is definitely correct. Well done. You have solved it super fast.
Sir, at -2 it will be stable.
Okay, then at the other one it has
At
to be
-3 it is unstable.
great.
It's stable at -2 and unstable at -3.
Great. Well done. Everyone got the answers? I'll wait for everyone else to do it. I hope all the students are doing it. Yes or no?
Sir.
Yes, I have an answer, and I think that is the correct answer. Well done if you have done it. Where is my pen? Where did I keep my pen? I'll give you a minute for the rest of the students to do and understand this question. So, shall I solve it now? Okay. Whosoever has done, who had given me the answer? Bacha, what is your name?
Krishna Chaitanya.
Hi, Krishna. Krishna, tell me what are the steps of solving this question. What is step number 1? How did you solve it?
du by dx, sir.
The first thing that we do is find out the derivative of this entire function. I hope everyone got the derivative. What is the derivative, beta?
3x square by 3
So that is basically x squared, right?
plus 5x
Plus 5x
plus 6.
plus 6. That is the derivative. I think everyone got to this first step of finding out the derivative. Now for equilibrium, let us equate it to 0, right? So that we can do it here only. For equilibrium, du by dx should be 0. Right? That implies x squared plus 5x plus 6 is equal to 0. This is a simple quadratic equation. Have you solved it? What are the solutions for this?
Minus 3 and minus 2.
X shall be equal to minus 2 or x shall be equal to minus 3. Absolutely correct. Simple maths, no complications. That was step number 1. What is the next step, beta?
Finding second derivative.
Find out the second derivative, d2u by dx squared.
2x plus 5.
2x plus 5. That is absolutely correct. Now I have to find out whether this value is positive or this value is negative. So the first thing is I put for x is equal to 2, x is equal to minus 2. Is it coming positive or negative? I hope you can substitute it. d2u by dx square is coming as plus 1, I think.
Yes, sir, plus 1.
Plus 1. It is positive. If it is positive, that means this is
Stable.
minima, and yes, stable. It is minima. In maths, it is known as minimum value. Minimum value of potential energy is the condition of stable equilibrium. Now, do I need to do the other one, or can I write the answer straight away?
At x is equal to minus 3, sir.
At x is equal to minus 3, do I need to find out, or I know the answer beforehand?
It's minus 1, sir. Unstable.
Yeah, I don't need to do it because
No, sir.
I know that if one of them is stable, the other one has to be
Stable.
unstable. So I don't need to do it. Even if you want, you can check it. It will always come the opposite way. Do I get this? Can I have some raise hand that you understand this? I don't have to solve the other part. See, we have to save time at the end of the day. Once we understand a concept, we don't have to do it. So once we know one of them is stable, the other one has to be unstable, we have to trust what we have learned and what we know so that we can save precious time, and that is going to matter in your exam. So once you get minus 2 is stable, the other one has to be unstable. If you had not done it for minus 2, if you had done it for minus 3, your first answer would be unstable. You don't have to do for minus 2 because that would have been stable equilibrium. Everyone got this in the offline class and the online class? As simple as this. One is stable, the other one is unstable. Well, then, if we have done this, that means we have come to the end of this particular topic of equilibrium. This is more than what you will ever require in any exam, whether it's main or advanced. So I'll end this this subtopic here, and I'll give you a minute. If there's anything that you have not understood in this topic, let me know. I can discuss it any further. Else, we will move on, and I'll talk about the test paper that you had in the last week. And if there's anything that you want to ask, you can ask. I'll give you 1 minute, 2 minutes to go through this entire thing. We are almost at the end of this chapter, but one of the most important things is still remaining, and that is law of conservation of energy and power. So these are the 2 points that are remaining, which we'll be covering in the coming classes. 2 minutes. Anyone with any doubt, please come up. Well, I guess everyone is quite happy with the things that we have done. So there is no point of wasting any further time. Well, without wasting any further time, let us move on and discuss the problems of the paper. If you want, if there's any particular doubt, you can ask. Let us go ahead and discuss these questions. How was the paper? Was it easy? Was it tough? Did you find it easy or tough? This is as per the level of JEE mains and thereabouts. JEE mains and just touching the level of JEE advanced. So this is the type of paper that you are going to expect in an examination hall. There will be a mix of questions, as I said, from the theory part as well as from the numerical part. So it has to be a mix. All the questions cannot be perfectly numerical, because then the paper becomes tough and you have to solve it in the given time. Okay. Is there any particular question that you want to discuss? Question number 14, as you can see, is a pretty straightforward question. A ball of mass m moves with a velocity v, strikes an infinite body and returns with the same speed. The work done by the ball on the wall. How much work the ball has done on the wall? How do you find it out? It's an infinite mass, so it doesn't move. So whatever force it exerts, the body doesn't move. There is no displacement. So you have the answer straight away. It's very simple, right? See, most of the questions that I do will always be based on some concept here or there. If you understand that concept, the question becomes pretty simple. Question number 15, as you can see, the kinetic energy acquired by a body of mass m is traveling some distance s, starting from rest under the action of a constant force is directly proportional to. So this is a straightforward question. Kinetic energy, something is starting from rest. How much kinetic energy it will acquire if I travel a distance x? What it is proportional to? Everyone understand this, whether it is proportional to m or root over m. It was given in terms of mass of the body. Everyone knows this, right? Yes or no? Great. The questions will vary. Some questions will be pretty simple that you can mark and go ahead. Some questions will be a bit time consuming. What you have to understand in the paper is that you have to understand which questions you are supposed to solve and which questions you are not supposed to solve. More important than which questions you are supposed to solve, it is important that you understand which questions are difficult and you don't have to waste time on that. Remember, we can't aim for a all India rank 1 to start with, that we are going to solve 25 out of 25. and we are going to get 100 on 100. Only the topper, maybe only one student in the entire country gets this. Even he may not get the entire score of 300 out of 300. It's virtually impossible to get it. So remember, we are not supposed to solve all the questions. The paper is made in such a way that an average aspirant who is aspiring to get into an IIT or an NIT solves at least 30 to 40% of the paper. Now, if you have got to get selected, you must be able to do it around 60 to 70%, and you are assured of a selection. Now, 60 to 70 questions, if there are 25 questions that you get in the examination paper, you should be aiming to attempt somewhere around 18 to 20 questions. That is the maximum limit that you are going to do right now. 18 to 20 out of 25. Even that is good. Even that is very high. Now, the way this thing works is the more you guess, the lower your score becomes. So don't guess. Out of these 18, 20 questions, if I attempt 18, the maximum number of wrongs can only be 3. I cannot afford more than 3 wrongs. Because if it is more than 3 wrongs, we are done. The selection is at a risk. I'm only talking about physics, right? Remember, so the number of right questions is what that matters, and the number of wrongs are the one that you must avoid. You must avoid at all places, at all times. Even if you solve only 10 questions, make sure that out of those 10, the maximum wrongs that you do is 2. Then you slowly improve. All of a sudden, if you think that you're going to solve 20 questions and you're going to get 18 out of them, you are not going to get it ever. You have to get it step by step. Aim for 10 questions to start with. If you think that you are not getting enough scores, aim only for 10 questions. Select those 10 questions that you have to attempt. That's it. Solve them. Get your confidence high. Once you get to 10, then you start attempting higher. Then you get to 12. The next aim is to get to 12 questions. I'm only talking about physics. The next step is to get to 15, and the last attempt will be to get to 18 to 20. Once you get to 18 to 20 consistently, it has to be consistent. It cannot be in one paper. It has to be consistent. Once you get to 18 to 20 and your maximum wrongs are somewhere around 3, that means your selection is almost confirmed. No one is going to stop it. But then you will have to go to 20. From 20 till 25, it is all about ranks. You get into the higher ranks, top ranks. But you have to get to 18 at least. From 18, the next step is 20. From 20, it's all party. After 20, it's all party. Because 20 in physics, if you get all 20 correct, it's 80 marks in physics. You will get into high 99 percentile. Higher 99 percentile, you get into higher 99 percentile. 20 questions, all correct. Higher 99 percentile. 99.87 something of that range. We'll get into that range. To get into that range, you will have to build up slowly. If you're not getting enough marks, start with 10 questions. That is all that you need to do. Getting my point? I'm talking about 25 questions. Here, if there are 30, in some papers, when I get 30, you also get a choice there. You can let go 5 questions from the second part. So you have enough choices. You have to make the correct choice. That is what you must remember. I hope everyone is clear with this. The strategy has to be clear in your head, and you keep on working on that strategy. You should not change your strategy. Keep on working on the strategy that I have given you, at least for physics. Work on that. Do not ever think of solving 25 questions, because then you are going to get to a score of only 20 to 30 marks. Not more than that. You will not get more than that. Because when you are trying to attempt to 25 questions straight away, the time that you spend on one question is drastically less. It's almost 2 minutes, just more than 2 minutes. And you will take around 45 seconds to read the question. 40 to 45 seconds. That is gone. So your time will be gone and you will not get good scores. Okay, question number 17 is a straightforward question. Force is given from x equal to 0 to x equal to 1. What you have to find out the work done. You just have to integrate f dx and you are done. Right? Straightforward question. Nothing happens here. Question number 18 was a question where we had to do it by Newton laws of motion as well. A cord is used to lower a mass of m by a distance d with a constant downward acceleration of g by 4. What is the work done by the cord on the tension? By the cord on the block, you draw the free body diagram. T upwards, mg downwards, and the acceleration is downwards. T upwards, mg downwards, and the acceleration is also downwards. From there, acceleration is given to you. Acceleration is given to you. You know the weight. You have to find the tension. Once you know the tension, that is the force applied by a rope on the block. Once you know tension, tension is constant, multiplied by the distance or the displacement, and you will get the work done. Do you understand this straight away? Very simple. You just have to find tension. So this was a question which had Newton laws of motion as well as work, power, energy. Question number 19 is a straightforward question. Two springs have their force constant K1 and K2. When they are stretched by the same force, remember they are stretched by the same force, what happens? Work done, no work is done, equal work is done, more work is done in case of second spring, more work is done in case of first spring. Remember they are stretched by the same force. Have I given you the three formulas of spring energy? The energy of a spring is half kx square. Have I given those formulae? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So did I give you all the three different ways in which you can write that spring formula? Yes or no? I did not give you that. So you have to think about that. That is what we are going to do in the next class. Energy of a spring is half kx square, but that is not the only way that you can write it. F is equal to kx. So you can write it in terms of F and x. You can also write it in terms of F and k. That is what you have to think. That is what you have to think. And in this case, you had to write it in terms of k and f because f is constant. So once you write in terms of k and f, you will understand on what factor does it depend on. F is constant in both the cases. F is constant, same in both the cases. You had to see the work done or the energy stored in the spring. How does it depend on k when f is constant? So f square by 2k. That is what you will do in the next class. But that was not a question that you could not have done because you know the energy of the spring. From the energy of the spring, you also know F is equal to kx. From there, you could have derived that relation and achieved that answer. Are you getting my point, everyone? Okay, so that was not out of course question. That was a question from the course itself. The only thing is you had to do it on your own. And as I always tell you, there would be questions always which you have to do for your own. Right? That is how you will become self-dependent in this case. This is a very simple question. The position dependent force is given, x coordinates are given, f dx the integral, and you could have easily achieved the answer for this part. Then question number 21, half question is here, half question is there. It should not have come like this. A particle moves in a straight line with retardation. So it is retardation proportional to displacement, the loss in kinetic energy. So how do you find the loss in kinetic energy? It is very simple. Retardation is given. So acceleration or retardation is equal to minus some constant into x. So from there, you multiply it by m. Acceleration multiplied by m will give you force. Once you have the force will be in terms of x. To find out the work done, that work done is change in kinetic energy, work energy theorem. From there, you could have found out, I will just write it, acceleration is equal to minus kx. This is how I write it. Negative sign because it is retardation. K is a constant. If I multiply it by m, this will become your force. If I multiply it by dx and integrate it, I will get the work done. This work done is equal to change in kinetic energy. Kinetic energy will decrease. From here, the answer is straightforward. Yes or no? Do you understand this? Then the next one was a simple question. Mass is given, initial velocity is given, frictional coefficient is given. After how much time will it stop? Straight away question. You could have easily done it. Which question had given you trouble? Any question that had given you trouble that you wanted to discuss? A body of mass 2 kg is being dragged with uniform velocity of 2 meters per second on a rough horizontal plane. Well done. The coefficient of friction is 0.2. What is the amount of heat generated in 5 seconds? So, how did you get this? And again, this is a question that will say, sir, we have not done a question of this nature. Well, you could have applied some common sense. How will you do this? 5 seconds, how much heat has been generated?
Sir, can you discuss question 20?
20? We have already gone through question number 20. What is wrong with question number 20? It is a straightforward integral, beta. F ds ka integral. It's the straightforward integral of f dx. F dx integral. That's it. What you need to do? This work done. From 0. We have done, I think, so too many questions on this. Yes or no?
Yeah.
What was wrong in this question? Anything wrong?
I have done calculation mistake, sir. Can you solve this?
Calculation mistake, you can, it's a simple integral, beta. Simple integral. Just integrate this, you'll get the answer. Should you have done a calculation mistake? Not a problem. You can rectify it later, okay?
Yes, sir.
Just integrate this. It is 7x minus 2x squared by 2 plus 3x cubed by 3. Just put the limits, get the answer. If you do a calculation mistake, beta, I can't help you. No one in this universe can help you if you do a calculation mistake. No one in this universe. Even if I solve it here, it will not serve any purpose. Calculation mistakes are mistakes that cannot be justified. That cannot be justified. That cannot be justified. I can't help you with that. I can't help you with that. I can't help you with that. Calculation mistakes. Calculations are not a part of physics. They are not a part of maths. They are not a part of chemistry. They are part of what you are. What you have learned in the 12 or 14 years of your schooling. If you can't do a calculation correctly, you can't do it. Learn it. You can still learn it. That is why I keep on telling you that you do calculations, that you read the question once, save your time in reading the question, because there are things that you will do wrongly. Calculation mistakes, the only way you can improve on that, the only thing that I can tell you about that is just practice. Practice, 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 practice. More practice, more practice, more practice, more practice, more practice. But still, you can do a calculation mistake. But see, there will be questions that will be coming that is purely calculation based. So you must work on those questions. Okay. The other question was, any other question? This one, question number 25. See, we can only discuss questions which are conceptual. I can tell you the concept of that question. And if you do a calculation mistake, well, you have to live with it. The coefficient of static friction between the block of mass 2 kg in the table is 0.2. What would be the maximum mass that can hang so that it does not move? So this would be equal to mg, this would be equal to t, this would be equal to t. The static friction will become limiting, then the mass will be maximum. So mg will be equal to t and t will be equal to fl. You just put the value, you will get the answer from there. Do you understand this?
Yes, sir.
Well done. See, beta, I must tell you that there are some points on which I'm very strict. Calculation is not, you just cannot say that, sir, I did a calculation mistake. That is not acceptable at all. Calculation, if you are doing such hard work in the theory part and you are solving the question, you know how to solve the question. I also do a lot of calculation mistakes, but I can afford it. You cannot. As I told you, my brain is on the deteriorating stage. I am deteriorating every day. I am getting slower every day. You just can't do it. So the only way you can improve is do simple calculation. Do calculation in your head. Make problems in your head. Solve them in your head. Because if you solve in your head, there are less chances of you doing a mistake. You only do a mistake when you write something wrongly. I will only do a mistake in this question if instead of 2 I use 4. That is the only way I can do a mistake here. Avoid calculations on paper, because on paper probably you can do a mistake. Most of the questions that you will encounter in JEE Main will be such that the calculation will be so simple that you can do it in your head. Hardly you will get a question which will require complex calculations. Remember, to avoid calculation mistakes, never write the answer in decimals. If you have 7/3, do not convert it into decimal. Keep it as 7/3. Again, I give you one more tip. Whatever calculations you have to do it on the last step. Keep everything in fractions. Keep everything in fractions. Do your calculation on the last step, so that whatever mistakes you have to do, you will do it on the last step, and it is easier for you to check it. Some questions will require you to get one value first and then find the other value. So when you are finding out the first value, do not put it into decimal. Just keep it into fractions. Then you use that fractional value here on the second step. And then you do the entire calculation in the second step. Don't do the calculation on the first step, because that is not required. That is not asked. Do not find the answer there. For example, we do a question on Newton's laws of motion. The only question they're asking is acceleration. But the way you have solved it, you have found out the tension first. Keep the tension in decimal. Keep the tension in fractions. Use that fractional value here, and then solve the question. Do all your calculations at one step. Are you getting my point? That is only one tip that I can give you about not committing calculation mistakes. Okay, is it clear to everyone? Any other question that you want to discuss? And remember, whatever questions we are discussing, keep a stock of that, because in your final exam you will be finding, and when I say final exam, I mean JEE Main of the year 2023. You will find questions coming in the paper from these questions that we are giving you. Trust me on that. That is going to happen. Okay, so every day, every week you get 25 questions. You multiply it by the number of weeks that you're going to study, and you will have a hell lot of questions only from the weekly test. Then you will have test series, you will have this, you will have that. You'll have enough questions to deal with. So only if you can solve the question paper correctly, you can do very nicely. I'll end this class here on this note. And if there is still any question that you want me to discuss, you have your group. Just tell me the question number, sir, this question number, please solve it. I will solve it in the group. I will not waste my time in the class. I'll just send you the solution in the group. If you want it, you can have a look at it. Okay? Anything else, beta, that I can help you with? No? Then I'll dismiss this class as of now. And wishing you a very Merry Christmas. I think tomorrow is a holiday. So wishing you a very Merry Christmas. Enjoy your day. Go out, have a party. I mean, you can afford one day off. You can afford that.
Merry Christmas, sir.
Happy Merry Christmas, or it is simply Merry Christmas? It is simply Merry Christmas, but again, I can add happy as well. Happy and happiest and happier Merry Christmas to all of you. Enjoy your time out. Go to Santa and ask for your wish. The only wish that you can ask for right now is to get you a berth in the prestigious College of India, and I wish that Santa does that for you. Remember, Santa is not going to come and help you out. The only people who are going to help yourselves, Deepak, and the rest of you is you. You are the Santa for yourself. Become your Santa, work hard, do not do stupid mistakes, and calculation mistakes should never come, because then the entire hard work that we are putting in is gone. Yes, beta? Chalo! Wishing you all a Merry Christmas. Take care. Enjoy your day off. Tata. Will meet on the next class on Monday. Take care.
Deepak, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everyone. Merry Christmas.